3, 2, 1. Hi. So this is my final project recording. This is Monty Heron. This is for the workshop in social media class. The project, as I've described it online, is a workshop for members of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and has to do with native mascots and how the usage of native mascots is damaging to our native youth. Basically, the project centers around the PowerPoint that I attached to my post in the D2L group. I essentially outlined the history of the use of native mascots, how it started, turn of the century, how it has continued on, it's pervasive, it constitutes daily microaggressions that students have to deal with, the history of schools in Oregon and how they've used native mascots, and Susan Castillo's decision to outlaw them because it is a discriminatory act. So it creates a situation where when Susan Castillo was the superintendent of Oregon schools, she felt that they weren't actually protecting students' interests. Now, the history of this more recently has to do with my tribe then fighting the Oregon Board of Education for the right to determine what schools get to have native mascots and what that imagery should look like, which is a very confusing question in Indian country right now because a lot of people in Indian country just want to see native mascots go away. It's a belief that's held by the American Psychology Association. APA supports it. The NCAA has outlawed them, except in very, very rare instances. There's numerous outlets and available academic research articles on this topic and why it's wrong. So I set out to actually create this module to do a workshop to educate tribal members about the history of it, why it's damaging, why it's wrong for our tribe to engage in approving this type of behavior. And it's not actually a fantasy workshop. I actually created this and I actually delivered it to 2 rooms full of Native Americans. It was simulcast at the same time. I probably reached around 400 to 500 tribal members with this particular workshop. The overwhelming feedback, it was positive. There certainly were some people who didn't agree with my findings or agree with my presentation. However, they actually took the time to individually come to me and say, I may not agree with you, but I respect you. So that's what you'll find in my PowerPoint. I hope this video was educational. As I described, I would use my tribe's campuses. We have 3 campuses with classrooms that can seat 20 students at computer monitors. It has a large monitor that faces the room with a camera at the top of each monitor to simulcast what's happening in the classroom. I would probably start off at the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde campus, and then it's also broadcast to Portland and Eugene simultaneously. These classrooms are actually used by Chemeketa Community College and Lane Community College for distance education classes. So it's an ideal setup. My idea is to add a sandbox so that people can actually be typing in the same place and seeing each other's comments and stuff. So some people can submit questions if they're afraid to actually vocalize those questions in the classroom environment. I think it would be very helpful. I would love to continue doing this education model if I could get our tribe to allow me to. But in the meantime, I'm just going to run for a seat on tribal council where I can affect some change that way. So I hope everybody has a great summer. I'll be doing comps. I'm sure some of you will be too. So I look forward to seeing you in my cohort. Thanks.